Determination is not easy to maintain. In the case of making a revolutionary inventory, your determination has to be supported by courage so you will not give up in the face of challenges or failures, especially if a huge amount of money will be sacrificed in the process. Many get frustrated and only courage and zeal to persist will keep you going. That is why, no matter the number of challenges encountered, Elon Musk keeps changing strategies to make the Starship program work. Another thing is keeping funds to carry out a project is another character that ought to be learned. Elon Musk hasn't considered building a luxurious and exotic city on an island that he could show off like other billionaires. Take for instance Akon city, a city where many people will travel from different angles of the world for vacation. At least Elon has the financial capacity to create something magnificent than Akon's city, but he has refused to show off and instead focuses on building his own luxurious city on Mars, a place that no human has ever stepped foot before. Musk wants to break history and create his own world there. He did not divert NASA's $2.9 billion huge fund. Instead, he channeled this money into building the Starship, Raptor engines, the launch pad, the Mechazilla tower, chopsticks, arm, and the booster, just to make his dream of creating his own city on Mars and also NASA's dream to land their astronauts on the moon happen in our real world. When one way is blocked to succeed, you have to devise another way that will make you scale. That has been happening with SpaceX and the FAA for some months. The FAA has been chiseling SpaceX through a narrow hole, from unnecessary delay to giving them strenuous regulations to which SpaceX couldn't adhere. So SpaceX has to think of packing their bags and belongings and move to Florida. But there are some launch towers that SpaceX intends to utilize in launching Starships as soon as possible. So in today's video, we'll reveal the progressive works and construction that are ongoing at SpaceX Starbase Boca Chica, Texas, in preparing to get the Starship ready for the first orbital launch. SpaceX has been building the first Florida launch pad for the Starship, which involves getting ready for the off-site assembly of a second skyscraper-sized launch tower. It's hard to believe that it's been only 3 months since SpaceX started stacking that tower, but it's done now. The Florida launch pad still needs a lot of work afterward, but Elon Musk recently said that he wants to start sending Starship rockets from South Texas to Florida by next spring. This is a brave and a smart move, since we can't let the FAA get in the way of our plans to land on Mars this decade. At Starbase, prototypes of both the Starship 24 and the Super Heavy Booster 7 were put through static fire tests. Currently, the Starship 24 is planned to be used for the first orbital flight test since SpaceX retired the SN20 in March. On the other hand, SpaceX is almost done building the Starship Launch Integration Tower at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station Launch Complex 39A, Florida. This tower has a funny name, the Mechazilla. SpaceX has been using LC-39A for Falcon 9 flights for a long time. In the future, Starship flights will also take off from the same area. Proof from @InnerSpaceNet. Tweet on September 11th, 2022. The final Starship tower segment is rolling out to LC-39A for stacking onto the tower assembly. Stacking the segment will complete the tower assembly, and focus will shift to assembling the ship QD arm, chopsticks, and other umbilical. And @Lunar Caveman also followed up the tweet by tweeting, "Nice, they've even pre-mounted the topping out flag. Minor diffs from OLT1, all the pulleys have circular cutoffs instead of spokes. On OLT1, the 2 deadline pulleys are like that, but the shot line pulleys on the drawworks side have spokes." SpaceX rolled the last piece of the Starship Launch Integration Tower to LC-39A. The tower will be finished when the quick disconnect arm and the chopsticks are put in place. Back at the Starbase, it's been confirmed that work on the Starbase and high tower is moving along quickly, and the top part of the tower has been moved to the new launch pad. The tower will grow to be 400 feet tall, and it could be used to launch up to 24 Starships every year. It will be the second tallest rocket-related building on the East Coast after NASA's Vehicle Assembly Building. A similar building exists at SpaceX's Boca Chica, Texas facility, where the 469-foot tall launch and catch tower is being tested. The ADS 30Q drawworks was used to move the chopsticks up and down the towers that were getting ready to be installed on Pad 39A tower. It was taken out of Deimos and sent for repairs. It is now waiting to be taken to the launch site, and it looks like SpaceX is getting ready to put pistons and gas spring springs on the new chopstick landing rail. We could probably guess that these are just for lifting, so SpaceX won't be able to catch boosters with this tower. The question is, how will Starship land? In the picture, you can see giant cranes and maybe signs of a new tower being built. SpaceX is getting ready to build a second KSC launch tower. SpaceX rents the launch complex from which Falcon 9 sends people and supplies to the International Space Station. The company has already been permitted to change Pad 39A to support future Starship missions. Under NASA's Artemis program, which aims to make a permanent presence on the moon, a launch pad at the Kennedy Space Center will likely be used for crew missions to the moon. SpaceX is working hard to meet this tight deadline and have a space-ready launch system by then. The next reason is the current state of the launch pad in Texas. Musk has said before that he is confident Starship will make a successful orbital flight in 2022, so we're waiting for the company to wrap things up and prove it. Engineers at the Starbase facility are working on getting the prototypes ready for the first orbital flight test at Boca Chica. However, the final permission is still unclear. Once everything is finished, SpaceX will have dedicated Starship launch facilities in both Florida and Texas. There is a good chance that Pad 39A will be ready for orbital launch attempts and SpaceX's Boca Chica launch site is certified. If Starbase Texas doesn't get FAA approval, the SpaceX launch pad at the Cape will be ready to launch the Starship flight. That means the company aims to use one stone to kill two birds. Hence, work will start again on Florida's huge rocket launch site. Musk is pushing SpaceX to do as many as a dozen test flights of the Starship next year. This will also have important effects on SpaceX's long-term development plans. So from the look of things, SpaceX is actually working towards landing on Mars in this decade. That is why the company's president already predicted that humanity will go to Mars in our decade. Whether the FAA becomes a barrier or not, both Starbase in Texas and Florida will have to be prepared for the possible launch. Still, since there is no wildlife, Florida seems to be SpaceX's current gold mine and environmental impact will be less. According to SpaceX President and Chief Operating Officer Gwynne Shotwell, a crewed Mars mission could happen sooner than you think. Astronauts will likely make it to the red planet's surface before the end of the 2020s, and I think it will be in this decade. Yes, people on the moon, sooner. I think we need to get a large delivery to the surface of Mars and then people will start thinking harder about it, she said. And then, within 5 or 6 years, people will see that will be a real place to go. In an interview with CBCN, SpaceX, of course, aims to be the one to make this ambitious vision a reality. The company is developing a huge reusable rocket spaceship convoy called Starship to take people and payloads to the moon, Mars and beyond. The only thing remaining is full support from the government and the people, that is, if the government sees any importance in dominating other planets in the universe. NASA chose Starship as the first crewed lunar lander for the Artemis program. In 2025, astronauts will land near the moon's south pole as part of this program. NASA sees Artemis as a moon to Mars program and plans to send a crewed mission to the red planet in 2040. This is about a decade later than when Shotwell thought humans would first step on Mars's red soil. As soon as everything goes as planned, the Starship will be the ultimate reliable vehicle and transport cargo and humans between different planets of our universe. We all look forward to the day that do you think the Starship will be launched on Mars in the 2020s? They're hardly working to achieve this goal. Indeed, they have already revealed a new launch date for Starship's first payload. It is sooner than you think. Just click on the video to know more about this.